After the asteroid hit the Earth about 67 million years ago, it marked the end of the age of dinosaurs and the beginning of something profoundly different. The skies darkened with soot and ash. The seas roiled with shock waves and the land burned. As global wildfires swept across vast forests, ecosystems that had thrived for millions of years collapsed almost overnight. Music. In the silence that followed the mass extinction, the planet stood still as if holding its breath. The dominant creatures that once thundered across the continents were gone, but not all life perished beneath the surface, hiding in the shadows. Something smaller had endured, the mammals. Mammals had been around for over 100 million years by the time the asteroid hit. But during the reign of the dinosaurs, they were limited to small, nocturnal niches. They scoured through undergrowth, climbed trees under the cover of night, and fed on insects, seeds and small reptiles while they were diverse in form. Their size remained modest, constrained by the overwhelming dominance of the giant reptiles. Above them, but now with the dinosaurs gone, a new world had opened filled with opportunity and danger. In the earliest days after the extinction, the world was a grim and uncertain place. Temperatures dropped sharply due to the lack of sunlight, leading to a brief but intense impact. Winter plant life struggled, and so did the herbivores that depended on it. Food chains faltered, and survival hinged on adaptability. Mammals, with their warm-blooded physiology, fur-covered bodies, and high reproductive rates, managed to persevere. Their ability to regulate body temperature allowed them to remain active, while other species faltered in the cold as the skies cleared and plant life slowly returned. The mammals began to expand their forms, diversified rapidly, and within a few thousand years entirely, new species had evolved without the towering reptiles dominating the land. Mammals moved into every vacant niche. Some became burrowers, others returned to the trees, and a few began exploring the open ground. This was the dawn of the Paleocene apophene of recovery and quiet innovation. The first mammals to emerge in significant numbers were still relatively small creatures. Like Pantolambda and Artosian roamed the forests, browsing on leaves and fruit. They were not particularly fast or ferocious, but they filled the void left by the herbivorous dinosaurs. Their teeth evolved for grinding vegetation, and their limbs adapted for walking on the forest floor. These early generalists laid the groundwork for the astonishing diversity that would soon follow. Carnivorous mammals began to evolve as well. Predators like Mesics and Sinopa, with sharp teeth and keen senses, hunted smaller animals and scavenged, when possible, while not as fearsome as the dinosaurs that preceded them. These hunters represented a new kind of apex predator, defined not by size but by intelligence, agility, and endurance. The world was changing, and so were the rules of survival over the next 10 million years. Mammals grew larger, more specialized, and more dominant. Some, like Euthyrum, reached the size of modern rhinoceroses with thick limbs and peculiar horns. Others, like the massive carnivorous antelodons, developed crushing jaws and aggressive behaviors that earned them the nickname hell pigs. But they were not pigs at all. These creatures belonged to entirely new evolutionary lines, ones that had never before seen the light of day. This rise of mammals was not just a story of survival, it was a revolution in the absence of dinosaurs. Evolution experimented boldly. Mammals developed hooves, trunks, flippers, and tusks. They returned to the seas, climbed to mountain peaks, and spread to every continent. Their brains grew more complex, their senses more refined, and their social structures more intricate, and among them, in the dense forests and warm tropics, a peculiar group of primates began to evolve. These early primates had grasping hands forward, facing eyes, and an unusual curiosity. They were small, agile, and alert, perfectly suited for life in the trees while they were still far removed from anything resembling modern humans. They marked the beginning of a long and winding journey that would one day lead to something entirely new. But in this moment, in the shadow of extinction and rebirth, mammals ruled the earth with a quiet resilience. They did not roar or thunder, they endured, adapted, and thrived. The age of mammals had begun. The earth fell silent in the days that followed. The impact, the towering roars of tyrannosaurs, the thunderous steps of sauropods, and the constant background hum of a vibrant prehistoric ecosystem were all gone in their place. Remained a stillness broken only by the distant crackling of smoldering forests, and the quiet settling of dust above the sky was a choking canvas of darkness. Thick clouds of ash and sulfuric gases wrapped the planet in a suffocating shroud, blocking out the sun. Temperatures plummeted. Sunlight, the giver of life, was lost. Photosynthesis stopped almost immediately. Plants deprived of light withered within days. Food chains that had taken millions of years to form began to unravel. Animals that relied on plants for sustenance starved predators that relied on those herbivores. Soon followed, it was a collapse of life from the ground-up reign. Once a life-giver, now carried acidic poisons. It burned through foliage and contaminated rivers and lakes. Ecosystems were transformed into barren, lifeless zones. The air was heavy with soot. Even breathing had become a challenge for larger creatures with complex respiratory systems. Oceans fared no better. The impact had superheated vast areas of the sea, causing near-instant death to millions of marine organisms. The shock waves and tsunamis had devastated coastal ecosystems, coral reefs, the rainforests of the ocean. Bleached and broke apart plankton populations dropped dramatically without them. The marine food web fractured. Fish-marine reptiles and filter-feeding giants died in mass numbers. The surface of the water, once teeming with activity, turned still and clouded with decay on land. The age of giants came to an end. The last of the non-avian dinosaurs struggled in vain. Too large, too specialized, and too dependent on a once stable world, they could not adapt to the brutal changes. Their extinction was not a single event, but a slow fade marked by hunger, exposure, and desperation. Eggs never hatched. Young, never matured nests remained cold and abandoned. Their bones, scattered across ash-filled valleys and plains, marked the end of an empire. Yet life did not end completely in the shadows and the cracks and crevices of this broken world. Survivors clung to existence. Small creatures often ignored in the grandeur of pre-extinction life now found themselves as the reluctant heirs of the earth, mammals once limited. To the underbrush, and night began to stir. Their small size was a blessing. They needed less food. Their diets were flexible. They could eat seeds, fungi, insects, and even decaying meat. They were not dependent on any one type of plant or prey. They simply adapted. Burrowing behavior became one of their greatest survival strategies. Underground temperatures were more stable. The deadly winds above could not reach them. They nested in old roots beneath fallen logs in cracks between stones. Mothers gave birth in darkness, nursing young with rich milker trait that gave mammals a major advantage. Their offspring had a higher chance of survival in the safety of a den, rather than relying on external food sources or exposed eggs. Like many reptiles had done, insects, particularly beetles and scavengers, began to thrive amidst the decay they fed on the abundant dead organic matter, and quickly reproduced. This boom in insect life provided a food source for creatures nimble and fast enough to catch them some. Amphibians, resistant to the acidic waters due to their permeable skin and ability to hibernate, also survived reptiles like turtles and crocodilians, slow-changing and tolerant of environmental stress endured in isolated pockets. Weeks passed, then months. The sky began to shift in color. The blackness turned to gray, slowly. Light returned, though filtered, and weak. In these rare windows of sunlight, hardy plants like ferns and mosses emerged. Their spores, carried by wind or hidden in soil, sprouted quickly. Green began to dot the landscape again. It was not lush, not yet, but it was life. The mammals ventured further from their shelters. Cautiously, they explored the remnants of their old world. They stepped over bones and ash. They sniffed the air and tested unfamiliar plants. Their populations were small, but their presence was steady. Each generation learned from the last. Some evolved sharper teeth. Others developed better hearing. Change was slow, but it was constant. Over time, new behaviors emerged. Some mammals began to band together for protection. Small social groups increased survival odds. They shared food, groomed each other, and raised young cooperatively. Others specialized. Some grew longer limbs for better climbing. Others adapted webbed feet for navigating swampy terrain. The diversity of mammals began to bloom in tiny, almost invisible steps as the forests regrew. They became refuse. Once again, the earliest flowering plants returned. Fruits appeared in small numbers, creating new feeding opportunities. Birds descended from the surviving lineages of theropod dinosaurs, also expanded their feathers. Initially evolved for warmth or display, now aided in flight and mobility. Some hunted insects, others fed on seeds. They too were adapting, carving out niches in a world with new rules. Volcanic activity, which had already been underway before the impact continued, for hundreds of thousands of years. It spewed greenhouse gases into the air, eventually warming the planet again. The frozen conditions began. To ease rainfall, increased rivers surged with new strength. Over time, great wetlands formed cradles for biodiversity to restart. With every passing decade, more species appeared. Evolution, once paused, surged forward with a quiet determination. The mammals that had once hidden now started to spread across continents, once ruled by armored ceratopsians and towering sauropods. Mammals ran, burrowed, climbed, and swam. Some resembled rats. Others looked like small udders or shrews. They remained small, no larger than a modern house cat. But their numbers were growing. They were the seeds of a future filled with wolves, whales, elephants, and eventually humans. They faced many challenges. Still, disease, predators, and competition remained constant. Threats, climate changes brought floods, droughts, and shifts in vegetation. But compared to the annihilation of before, these were survivable, and each trial helped shape them further. Even the soil began to change. The decomposition of countless dead creatures enriched the land with nutrients. This fertilized the next generation of plants. New fungi species emerged, breaking down organic matter faster. Ecosystems slowly rebuilt from the bottom up. Life was no longer what it had been, but it was moving forward in this new world. Silence no longer dominated. The rustle of leaves, the chirps of insects, the cries of early birds, and the soft steps of mammals began to fill the air once again. They were quiet sounds, humble in volume, but rich in meaning. They signaled resilience. They told the story of life's refusal to give up. The memory of the dinosaurs faded with every generation. Their legacy lived on in the birds that flew overhead and in the scattered bones buried beneath the soil. But the earth had turned a page. This was a world in transition, and in between chapter not yet the age of mammals, but no longer the reign of dinosaurs. It was a time of renewal, caution, and quiet perseverance. And in this renewed silence, life began again, not with a roar, but with a whisper. The Paleocene epoch, beginning about 66 million years ago, marked the dawn of a new area world, reshaped by catastrophe, but brimming with opportunity in the aftermath of the mass extinction that ended the age of dinosaurs. Mammals emerged as the resilient survivors, stepping quietly, yet boldly into a landscape left barren by disaster. This epoch, lasting roughly 10 million years, saw mammals evolve from small, shadowy creatures into a wide variety of forms. Though they remain relatively small in size, compared to the dinosaurs they outlasted, the diversity of mammal species exploded. The Paleocene was a time of experimentation. In evolution, where natural selection explored many different body shapes, diets, and behaviors. This was the crucible in which many mammalian groups found their roots early. Paleocene mammals were often generalized in form. They were typically no larger than modern rats or rabbits, with simple teeth suited for a varied diet. Many species were insectivores, feeding on the abundant insects that flourished in the recovering ecosystems. Others were herbivores, nibbling on the new shoots and seeds that emerged as the climate warmed and plant life rebounded. Some scavenged carrion, while a few evolved into predators themselves, hunting smaller vertebrates. One key to their success was adaptability. These mammals were not specialists tied to narrow food sources or habitats. Instead, their generalist lifestyles allowed them to exploit a range of environments: dense forests, open woodlands, wetlands, and even nearshore habitats. They were opportunists, in a world rebuilding itself, able to move, hide, and hunt with relative ease. This epoch also saw the rise of groups that would become dominant in later ages. Multituberculates, an extinct lineage of rodent-like mammals, flourished. They possessed complex, multi-cusped teeth that allowed them to grind tough plant material. Their diversity and abundance suggest they filled many ecological niches once held by dinosaurs. They burrowed and climbed, living much like modern squirrels or rats, and thrived for millions of years. Another important group was the condylaths. These primitive hood mammals are considered ancestors of modern ungulate shoe animals, like deer horses and elephants. Condylaths were mostly herbivorous or omnivorous, roaming forests and floodplains feeding on leaves, fruits, and roots. Their evolutionary experiments in tooth structure and limb shape hinted at the future diversity of large mammals. Marsupials, the group that includes modern kangaroos and opossums, also began to diversify during the Paleocene. Though still rare, early marsupials showed the ability to reproduce with short gestation periods and carry young in pouches or nests. This reproductive strategy gave them an edge in unstable environments, allowing mothers to protect vulnerable offspring while continuing to forage insectivores, including the ancestors of modern shrews and hedgehogs, proliferated small and nimble. They thrived on insects and other invertebrates, their sharp teeth perfect for piercing exoskeletons. These mammals played a vital role in controlling insect populations, creating a balance in the recovering ecosystems. Climatic conditions during the Paleocene were generally warm and humid, with little seasonal variation. Tropical and subtropical forests expanded across much of the Earth's surface. These lush environments provided abundant food and shelter, ideal for the rapid diversification of mammals. Flowering plants, having survived the extinction, flourished and produced new fruits and seeds, further supporting mammalian diets. Wetlands and swamps became hotspots of biodiversity. Shallow lakes and marshes hosted amphibians, fish, reptiles, and early mammals alike. Some mammals adapted to semi-aquatic lifestyles, developing webbed feet and dense fur. These adaptations allowed them to exploit aquatic food sources, such as mollusks and small fish niches, once dominated by marine reptiles. While mammals flourished, predators adapted too. The Paleocene saw the rise of early carnivorous mammals, ancestors of later groups, like the creodonts and carnivorans. These hunters were often small and opportunistic, hunting insects, small reptiles, and other mammals. Their sharp teeth and claws reflected a shift toward active predation rather than scavenging. Alone, one of the challenges faced by these mammals was competition with birds, the descendants of theropod dinosaurs. Early birds had diversified rapidly after the extinction. Some were large and flightless, dominating terrestrial environments. Others were small and agile, filling roles, similar to songbirds and raptors. Today, birds competed for food and nesting sites, creating dynamic ecological interactions. Fossil evidence from this period shows mammalian teeth evolving rapidly. The shape and complexity of murs and preolars reflect diet shifts adapted for grinding tough vegetation. Others for slicing meat. Jaw structures grew stronger, allowing a wider range of chewing motions. This dental evolution was a key factor in mammalian success, permitting species to specialize and diversify. Limbs of Paleocene. Mammals also changed. Early forms had generalized limbs suited for walking and climbing, but as environments diversified, so did limb structures. Some evolved powerful hind legs for jumping or running, while others developed strong forelimbs for digging burrows. These adaptations increased mobility and access to resources, further opening ecological niches. Reproduction strategies varied widely. Some mammals produced many small offspring with low parental care, while others invested more energy in fewer well-developed young. This variety reflects evolutionary experimentation, with species trying different approaches to survival. In a recovering world, Paleocene mammals lived in complex communities. Some species formed social groups, while others were solitary interactions, included competition for food and territory, predator-prey relationships, and symbiotic partnerships. These early ecosystems laid the foundation for the intricate food webs of later epochs. The Paleocene also saw the beginnings of mammalian brain expansion. Though still small compared to modern mammals, brain size relative to body size increased. This likely improved sensory abilities and cognitive functions, enhancing survival skills such as foraging, avoiding predators, and social behaviors. These evolutionary advances set the stage for future mammalian radiations. By the end of the Paleocene, mammals had firmly established themselves as key players in Earth's ecosystems. They were no longer the humble survivors of extinction, but pioneers of a new age. As the Paleocene gave way to the Eocene epoch, mammalian diversity exploded further. Many of the groups that appeared in the Paleocene evolved into the ancestors of modern mammals. This period was the prelude to the world of elephants, whales, horses, and primates. In summary, the Paleocene was a time of cautious but determined recovery. Mammals, once overshadowed by dinosaurs, seized the chance to explore new forms and lifestyles. Their adaptability varied. Diets and evolving behaviors allowed them to carve out niches in a world forever changed. Their story is one of Brazilian seismal creatures in a vast changing world, quietly setting the stage for the rise of mammals as the dominant animals on Earth. The Ine epoch, stretching from about 56 to 34 million years ago, was a period of dramatic change and rapid expansion. For mammals following the groundwork laid during the Paleocene, this epoch saw mammals truly rise to prominence across the globe, diversifying into astonishing forms and sizes. The world during the Eocene was a vastly different place compared to what came before: warmer climates, flourishing forests, and shifting continents all created new opportunities that mammals eagerly seized. The Iowane is often called the dawn of modern mammals because many of the major mammalian groups recognizable today first appeared during this time. It was a period marked by experimentation and specialization. Mammals adapted to every conceivable habitat, from lush tropical rainforests to open plains and coastal wetlands. Evolutionary pressures fueled rapid development of new species, many of which set the stage for the complex ecosystems that would later evolve. Climate played a key role in this explosion of life. The Eocene began with the Paleocene, Eocene thermal maximum, a spike in global temperatures that created hot, humid conditions worldwide. These warm climates supported dense forests, even in polar regions, towering trees, rich undergrowth, and abundant rivers created a paradise for herbivorous mammals and their predators alike. One of the most significant evolutionary advances of the Eocene was the development of fully hoofed mammals, the ancestors of modern annelid. These animals evolved more efficient limbs and teeth, designed for grazing and browsing. Early perissodactyls, such as the ancestors of horses and rhinos, appeared during this epoch. Horses in particular began as small, multi-toed forest dwellers, but would later evolve into the swift single-toed runners of open grasslands. Artiodactyls, or even toad unullet, also emerged and diversified during the Eocene. These include the ancestors of deer pigs, camels, and whales. Notably, early whales began their transition from land-dwelling mammals to fully aquatic creatures in shallow coastal waters. These remarkable adaptations show the incredible versatility of mammals, adapting to new niches. Carnivorous mammals evolved alongside herbivores, developing sharper teeth and stronger jaws. Creodontants, now extinct, were among the dominant predators, resembling large saber-toothed carnivores. Early members of the carnivorous order, which includes modern cats, dogs, bears, and weasels, appeared and began to spread. These predators had keen senses, agility, and social behaviors that made them efficient hunters in a world teeming with prey. Primates. The group that includes monkeys, apes, and humans first flourished in the Eocene early. Primates were generally small, arboreal creatures, adept at climbing and leaping through trees. Their forward-facing eyes and grasping hands suggest improved depth perception and dexterity, essential traits for navigating the dense forests. These early primates laid the foundation for the eventual rise of humans. Millions of years later, the Eocene also saw a diversification of mammals that filled unique ecological roles. Some evolved into specialized herbivores like the bizarre chalicoth, which had clawed forelimbs and browsed on leaves high in the forest canopy. Others, like the large lumbering panodons, became some of the largest land mammals of their time, comparable in size to modern elephants. Small mammals such as rodents and insectivores thrived, and diversified rodents adapted to a variety of diets and habitats, from burrowing underground to climbing trees. Insectivores maintained their role in controlling insect populations, evolving sharper teeth and increased agility. Aquatic and semi-aquatic mammals also made advances. Early whales, known as archaeoetses, retained some limbs for walking on land, but increasingly adapted to life in the water, developing powerful tails and streamlined bodies. Other mammals, like desmosilians, evolved into amphibious forms resembling hippos or seals, exploiting rich coastal environments. The fossil record reveals a planet alive with mammalian activity, footprints, bones, and teeth. Tell the story of a vibrant world where mammals chased each other through forests, grazed on ferns and early flowering plants, and adapted to climates ranging from tropical to temperate plant life. During the Eocene was equally rich and varied. Angioperms, flowering plants, continued to dominate, providing fruits, nuts, and leaves that supported diverse herbivores. Tropical rainforests spread to cover large areas, including regions near the poles, creating continuous green corridors where mammals could migrate and evolve without major geographic barriers. This global warmth was accompanied by rising sea levels, flooding many continental areas, and creating extensive shallow seas and wetlands. These environments fostered rich biodiversity and were crucial for the evolution of aquatic mammals. The Eocene was not without challenges. Climatic fluctuations toward the end of the epoch began to cool the planet, setting the stage for the eventual expansion of grasslands. In the next epoch, these environmental shifts forced mammals to adapt again, favoring those capable of surviving in more open and cooler habitats. Social behavior and intelligence likely increased during the Eocene. Larger brain sizes, complex sensory organs, and the beginnings of social structures appeared in many groups. Evidence suggests some mammals lived in groups, cared for their young over extended periods, and developed communication methods. The evolutionary advances of the Eocene shaped the course of life on Earth. Mammals were no longer confined to small, marginal roles, but had become dominant terrestrial vertebrates. Their adaptations to diverse environments opened pathways for future evolutionary success. In summary, the Eocene epoch was a vibrant, transformative period where mammals took center stage. Their diversification and specialization in response to a warm, lush world paved the way for the complex ecosystems we recognize today. From tiny tree dwellers to giant herbivores and early whales, mammals made remarkable strides forever, changing the face of life on Earth. The Oligocene epoch, spanning from about 34 to 23 million years ago, was a time of transformation and adaptation for mammals after the warm and lush Eocene. The planet began to cool and dry, causing forests to shrink and grasslands to expand. This shift in climate and environment posed new challenges for mammals, forcing them to evolve rapidly or face extinction. The Oligocene represents a crucial chapter in mammalian history, period where many species adapted to increasingly open habitats, leading to dramatic changes in their anatomy, behavior, and diversity. Climate change was the driving force behind these evolutionary shifts. Global temperatures dropped steadily. Polar ice caps expanded and seasonal variations became more pronounced. Rainfall patterns altered, reducing the dense tropical forest that had dominated much of the planet for millions of years. Instead, more open woodlands, savannas, and grasslands began to spread across the continents. These new landscapes favored mammals capable of running long distances, grazing tough vegetation, and enduring seasonal droughts and cold snaps. One of the most visible consequences of this environmental change was the rise of grass-eating mammals. Grasses, though once rare, evolved rapidly and spread widely during the Oligocene. Their tough silica blades required animals to develop specialized teeth for grinding. This led to the evolution of high C-crowned murs, with complex enamel patterns, perfect for wearing down abrasive plant material. Such dental adaptations are seen in many ungulate lineages during this epoch. Perissodactyls, the odd-toed ungulate, continued to evolve and diversify. Horses, which had begun as small forest dwellers in the Eocene, adapted to grassland life by becoming larger, faster, and more efficient. Runners, early horses developed longer legs, stronger hooves, and simplified toes, eventually leading to the single-toed limbs of modern horses. Other perissodactyls, such as rhinoceroses and tapirs, also adapted to these changing environments, though they retained more primitive features. Artiodactyls, the event-oided ungulate, thrived in the Oligocene and expanded their range. This group includes ancestors of modern deer, cattle, camels, and pigs. Many artactyls develop complex stomachs capable of fermenting tough plant fibers, allowing them to digest grasses and other fibrous vegetation more efficiently. Their limb structures evolved for speed and endurance, helping them evade predators in open habitats. Carnivorous mammals also adapted to new conditions. The creodonts dominant, Carnivores of the Eocene began to decline, making way for the rise of the carnivore ants, the group that includes modern dogs, cats, bears, and weasels. Carnivorans developed sharper teeth, more flexible limbs, and keen senses that allowed them to hunt a variety of prey in open and forested environments. Alike, their social behaviors likely became more complex, with some species living and hunting in packs. Primates faced challenge too as forests receded. Many arboreal primates lost habitat. However, some adapted into more open environments, developing greater terrestrial abilities. These evolutionary pressures set the stage for later primate diversification, including the rise of early monkeys and apes, rodents and lagomorphs. Rabbits and hares flourished during the Oligocene, exploiting diverse habitats. Their teeth continued to evolve for specialized diets, and many species developed burrowing and climbing skills to escape predators and harsh conditions. Semi-aquatic mammals made significant strides as well. Early ancestors of modern seals and sea lions appeared adapting to coastal and marine environments. These marine mammals evolved flippers and streamlined bodies, enabling them to swim efficiently and hunt fish and invertebrates. Fossil sites from the Oligocene reveal a world where mammalian ecosystems were increasingly complex. Evidence shows herbivores living in herds, predators stalking in packs, and animals developing behaviors and physical adaptations suited for survival. In open landscapes, plant life shifted dramatically in response to climate change. Tropical forests shrank and were replaced by woodlands and grasslands, dominated by grasses and shrubs. These plants formed the basis of new food webs supporting large herbivores and their predators. The Oligocene also saw geological changes affecting mammalian evolution. Continental drift continued to alter land connections, isolating populations and promoting speciation. Mountain building events created new habitats and climate zones further, driving diversification. Adaptations to the Oligocene's harsher conditions included changes in metabolism and reproduction. Many mammals developed more efficient digestive systems and strategies for conserving water. Reproductive cycles adjusted to seasonal variations with some species, timing births to coincide with periods of food abundance, brain size, and complexity. In mammals continued to increase during the Oligocene. Enhanced cognitive abilities likely improved social interactions, foraging strategies, and predator avoidance. These advances contributed to the success and survival of many mammal species. In summary, the Oligocene epoch was a period of transition where mammals faced and overcame new environmental challenges. The cooling and drying climate reshaped ecosystems, pushing mammals to adapt with new forms, diets, and behaviors. This epoch laid critical foundations for the modern mammalian fauna, including many familiar groups. Seen today, mammals' ability to evolve in response to changing worlds ensured their survival and dominance, setting the stage for the further evolutionary radiations that would follow. In the Mezzine and beyond, the story of the Oligocene is one of resilience, innovation, and the relentless march of life adapting to an ever-changing Earth. The Miocene epoch, spanning from about 23 to 5. 3 million years ago was a remarkable era for mammals following the cooler and drier Oligocene. The Miocene saw a dynamic interplay of climate shifts and tectonic activities that created new habitats and ecological opportunities, mammals diversified at an unprecedented rate, spreading across continents and adapting to a wide array of environments. This epoch represents one of the most important chapters in mammalian evolution, where many modern groups took shape and expanded their ranges climatically. The Miocene was a time of relative warmth during its early stages, followed by gradual cooling toward the end. This fluctuation led to the expansion of grasslands and open woodlands, which replaced many forests that had dominated earlier epochs. These changing environments pushed mammals to evolve traits suited for grazing, running, and thriving in open spaces. One of the most notable developments during the Miocene was the explosive diversification of herbivorous mammals, particularly unulate, the grasslands rich in tough, fibrous plants, favored animals with specialized teeth and digestive systems capable of processing these diets. Horses continued their evolutionary journey with Jenner, like Mercipus evolving more advanced teeth and limb structures. Improving speed and endurance, these adaptations allowed horses to colonize vast grasslands. In North America and Eurasia, artiodactyls thrived and diversified during the Miocene, with many familiar families such as cervids, deer, bovids, antelopes, cattle, goats, and camelids, camels and llamas appearing or expanding their ranges. These animals developed complex stomachs for fermenting plant material, efficient limbs for fast running, and social behaviors for living in herds. Their success in open habitats made them dominant herbivores. Of the epoch, carnivores evolved in tandem with herbivores. The Miocene saw the rise of large predatory mammals, such as maca rodent, saber-toothed cats famous for their elongated canine teeth. These formidable hunters specialized in taking down large herbivores. Alongside them, ancestors of modern cats, dogs, bears, and weasels diversified and spread social hunting. Strategies became more common, and some species showed evidence of territorial behaviors. Primates experienced significant evolutionary milestones during the Miocene. Apes, which had evolved from earlier primate groups, flourished in the warm and wooded regions of Africa and Eurasia. Many Miocene apes, like Civipithecus and Dryopithecus, exhibited traits linking them to modern great apes, including orangutans and chimpanzees. These primates displayed advanced social structures, tool use, and dietary adaptations. Some even began adapting to more open environments, foreshadowing the evolution of homininsur, human ancestors. Small mammals such as rodents and lagomorphs continued to diversify and adapt to various niches. Rodents became major seed dispersers and grazers in many ecosystems. Their rapid reproduction and adaptability allowed them to exploit changing environments effectively. Aquatic mammals advanced further in the Miocene. Early dolphins and whales evolved complex echolocation abilities, aiding in hunting fish and squid. In increasingly deep and open oceans, seals, sea lions, and walruses diversified, occupying coastal and marine habitats worldwide. The Miocene was also a period of important geological activity that influenced mammalian evolution. The uplift of major mountain ranges like the Himalayas altered climate and habitats, creating rain shadows and new ecosystems. Tectonic shifts also affected ocean currents, further impacting global climate and biogeography. Plant life responded to these changes by expanding grasslands and savannas. The proliferation of grasses created new food sources, encouraging the evolution of specialized grazers forests, persisted in some regions, providing refuge for arboreal mammals and primates. Mammals of the Mammalian showed remarkable adaptations for survival. Many developed longer limbs and more efficient. Locomotion suited for running and leaping. Dental adaptations became more refined, enabling varied diets from grazing to browsing, and omnivory, sensory organs and brains grew more complex, supporting enhanced cognition and social behavior. Fossil evidence reveals diverse ecosystems where large herbivores roamed in herds, predators hunted in packs or alone, and small mammals skewered through underbrush. These interactions shaped food webs and evolutionary pressures, driving further diversification. The Mammalian also witnessed the emergence of early hominins toward its later stages. These human ancestors began to display bipedalism, tool use, and dietary flexibility, setting the foundations for human evolution. In the following epochs, the Mioceno's environmental pressures played a critical role in shaping these traits as hominins adapted to more open and variable habitats. In summary, the Miocene epoch was a pivotal period when mammals expanded their presence across the globe, conquering new territories. And niches, climatic and geological forces created changing environments that drove evolutionary innovation, from the rapid runners on grasslands to the powerful predators stalking prey Mammalian mammals, laid down the blueprint for many modern species. Their success was built on adaptability and resilience in the face of shifting worlds, showcasing the incredible evolutionary potential of mammals. The Miocene set the stage for the diverse and complex mammalian ecosystems we see today, marking a major chapter in the story of life on Earth. The Pliocene epoch, lasting from about 5.3 to 2.6 million years ago, marked a crucial turning point in mammalian evolution and Earth's climate history. It was a time when the planet's environment continued to cool and dry, setting the stage for the ice ages that would follow. During the Pliocene, mammals faced increasing challenges, but also opportunities as they adapted to these changing conditions. The Pliocene stands as a bridge between the warm, relatively stable climates of the Miocene and the harsh glacial cycles of the Pleistocene. One of the defining features of the Pliocene was the further expansion of grasslands and savannas, particularly in North America, Eurasia, and Africa. Forests retreated and open habitats became more common, pushing mammals to refine their adaptations for life in these environments. Large herbivores, especially grazers, continued to evolve. High-crowned teeth and complex digestive systems to efficiently process grasses and tough plants. This era saw the peak diversity of many ungulate groups, including horses, camels, deer, and bovids horses, which had steadily evolved since the Eocene reached new levels of diversity. During the Pliocene, multiple genera existed simultaneously, ranging from small forest-adapted species to large, fast grazers of open plains. These horses developed longer legs, stronger bones, and teeth, specialized for different diets, illustrating their adaptability to varied habitats and climates. Artiodactyls also flourished. Bovids ancestors of modern antelopes, sheep and cattle diversified rapidly, filling niches in grasslands worldwide. Their social behaviors became more complex, with hearing providing protection against predators. Cervids, including early deer species, adapted to new environments by evolving antlers and specialized diets. Camelids spread across North America and South America, evolving different forms. Some adapted to dry deserts, and others to mountainous terrain. Carnivorous mammals evolved alongside these herbivores, adapting hunting strategies and physical traits to capture. Increasingly agile prey, saber-toothed cats persisted in some regions but began to decline toward the end of the Pliocene. Modern families such as canids, dogs, felids, cats, and ursids. Bears diversified and spread, developing traits suited to varied environments, from forests to open plains. Some carnivores specialized in scavenging or ambush hunting, while others evolved endurance, running to chase prey. Primates during the Plion continued to evolve, with important developments in the ancestors of humans. Early hominins appeared in Africa, exhibiting traits like bipedalism, larger brains, and tool use. These adaptations reflect responses to changing environments, including more open landscapes and shifting food resources. Pliocene hominins began to exploit a broader diet, including meat and tubers, contributing to their survival and evolutionary success. Smaller mammals like rodents and lagomorphs adapted to diverse habitats. Their rapid reproductive rates and flexible diets helped them thrive. Despite climatic fluctuations, many species developed behaviors such as burrowing or nocturnality to avoid predators. And extreme temperatures, marine mammals continued to evolve in Pliocene seas. Whales and dolphins developed more sophisticated echolocation and social structures. Seals and sea lions diversified their hunting strategies and reproductive behaviors to survive in coastal waters. Tectonic activity during the Pliocene reshaped continents and ocean currents, influencing climate and biogeography. Mountain building events like the continued uplift of the Himalayas created new habitats and influenced weather patterns. These geological changes contributed to the formation of deserts, rain shadows, and new migration routes for mammals. Plant life during the Pliocene adapted to cooler and drier conditions. Grasses and shrubs dominated many regions, while forests became more patchy and restricted to wetter areas. These changes altered food availability and shelter, affecting mammalian behaviors. And distributions, adaptations to Pliocene environments included further refinement of locomotion, dentition, and sensory capabilities. Many mammals developed endurance for long distance travel, important for migration and seasonal movement. In search of food, social structures became more sophisticated, with some species forming large herds or packs for protection and cooperative hunting. Brain size and intelligence in mammals increased, particularly in primates and carnivores, supporting complex social interactions and problem-solving skills. Tool use, and cultural behaviors emerged in hominins, marking early steps toward human civilization. Fossil records from the Pliocene reveal diverse ecosystems where mammals occupied various ecological roles. Large grazers and browsers fed in herds across open plains. Predators stalked and hunted, with skill, and small mammals exploited niches in the undergrowth and burrows. These interactions created dynamic food webs, shaping evolutionary pressures in summary, the Pliocene epoch was a time of significant transition and adaptation for mammals as the Earth cooled and environments became more variable. Mammals demonstrated remarkable resilience and innovation. The expansions of grasslands and new climatic challenges pushed many species to evolve advanced traits and behaviors. This epoch set the stage for the Pleistocene Ice Ages and the emergence of modern mammalian fauna, including the rise of humans. The Pliocene story is one of endurance and change, highlighting the mammalian journey toward the diverse and complex life forms we see on our planet today. The Pleistocene epoch, spanning roughly from 6 million to about 11,700 years ago, is often called the Ice Age due to its defining feature: repeated cycles of glacial and interglacial periods. During this time, Earth's climate fluctuated dramatically, with massive ice sheets expanding and retreating over large parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. These glaciations had profound effects on the planet's ecosystems and the mammals that inhabited them, shaping their evolution, migration, and survival strategies. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Pliocene was the presence of megafauna, giant mammals that roamed diverse environments worldwide. These species included massive herbivores such as mammoths, mastodons, giant ground sloths, and woolly rhinoceroses, as well as formidable carnivores like the saber-toothed cats, giant bears, and dire wolves. These animals evolved to survive harsh climates and exploit the vast resources available in their habitats, often growing to enormous sizes as an adaptation to cold and predation pressures. Pleistocene's fluctuating climate led to dramatic shifts in habitats. Ice sheets covered large northern regions, pushing ecosystems southward during warmer interglacial phases. Forests and grasslands expanded, creating corridors for animal migration and gene flow. These cycles forced mammals to adapt continuously, developing behaviors such as migration, hibernation, and changes in diet and reproduction. Herbivorous megapora were adapted to cold-steppe tundra environments with thick fur, large bodies to conserve heat, and specialized teeth for grazing tough grasses and shrubs. Mammoths, related to modern elephants, had long curved tusks and dense woolly coats. Giant ground sloths, though not closely related to modern sloths, grew to immense sizes and were important browsers. Woolly rhinoceroses had thick skin and large horns, defending against predators and foraging through snow carnivores, evolved as apex predators. In this landscape, saber-toothed cats with their iconic elongated canines hunted large prey. Using ambush tactics, dire wolves formed packs to hunt cooperatively, increasing their chances of success. Giant short-faced bears were formidable omnivores, dominating some regions with their size and strength. These predators faced intense competition, but were crucial in maintaining ecosystem balance by regulating herbivore populations. Primates during the Pliocene included the emergence and spread of early humans, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and finally Homo sapiens, developed sophisticated tools, hunting techniques, and social structures. These advancements allowed humans to exploit diverse environments and outcompete many megapora species. Humans' ability to adapt culturally and technologically was a key factor in their survival through climatic upheavals. Smaller mammals also experienced shifts. Many species adapted to cold conditions by developing insulating fur, burrowing behaviors, or seasonal reproductive strategies. Rodents and lagomorphs often flourished in these ecosystems, serving as prey for larger carnivores and influencing vegetation dynamics through their feeding and burrowing. Aquatic mammals like seals and whales adapted to changing sea levels and temperatures. During glacial maxima, lowered sea levels exposed land bridges such as the Bering Land Bridge, enabling migrations between continents. Marine ecosystems also shifted, with some species adapting to colder, more productive water geological and climatic forces, shaped migration routes and population distributions. The cyclical advance and retreat of ice sheets created corridors and barriers, isolating populations and promoting speciation refugi, areas with stable climates. During glacial maxima, became important centers of biodiversity and evolutionary innovation. Vegetation patterns changed significantly. Tundra and steppe environments dominated northern latitudes, while forests contracted or fragmented. These shifts affected food availability and shelter for mammals, influencing their survival strategies and reproductive cycles. Pleistocene mammals developed a suite of adaptations to survive their challenging world. Thick fur, large body size fat reserves, and specialized dentition were common behavioral adaptations, included hibernation, migration, caching food, and complex social systems. These traits allowed mammals to endure the harsh winters and fluctuating resources, characteristic of the epoch. The fossil record shows rich diversity during the Pliocene. Many species, now extinct, once thrived in vast numbers. However, toward the end of the Pliocene, a wave of extinctions eliminated. Many megapora causes are debated, but include climate change, human hunting pressures, and habitat alterations. In conclusion, the Pliocene was a dramatic era in mammalian history characterized by giant creatures, harsh climates, and the rise of humans. It was a time of both survival and loss, setting the stage for the ecosystems and species. We recognize today the story of Pleistocene. Mammals illustrates resilience and vulnerability, highlighting the complex interplay between environment biology and the emergence of our own species. As the Pleistocene epoch drew to a close, around 11,700 years ago, Earth entered a new phase. The Holocene, marked by a relatively stable and warmer climate. This climatic shift profoundly influenced the mammalian world. But more importantly, it heralded the rise of one species whose impact would reshape the planet. Humans, from small groups of hunter-gatherers to global civilizations. Humans transformed landscapes, ecosystems, and mammalian diversity in unprecedented ways. The story of human evolution is intertwined with mammalian history. Early hominins first appeared during the Pliocene, but it was in the Pliocene that Homo sapiens evolved the cognitive, social, and technological capabilities to dominate complex language. Advanced tool-making and cultural transmission enabled humans to exploit diverse environments. Effectively, humans developed hunting strategies that increased their efficiency and range. Weapons like spears, bows, and traps allowed them to hunt large mammals, sometimes driving species to extinction. Evidence from archaeological sites shows extensive hunting of mammoths, giant sloths, and other megaporna. These pressures, combined with climate changes, contributed to the dramatic decline of many large mammals. By the end of the Pleistocene, as human populations grew, they began altering environments through fire agriculture and settlement. The domestication of plants and animals during the Holocene revolutionized food production, supporting larger populations and new social structures. This transition from nomadic to sedentary lifestyles altered mammalian habitats, fragmenting ecosystems and changing food webs. Deforestation, land clearing, and urbanization dramatically reduced habitats for wild mammals. Many species adapted to human-altered environments, but others faced extinction. Large predators and megapora in particular suffered due to habitat loss and hunting pressures. The domestication of animals such as dogs, cattle, sheep, and horses created new relationships between humans and mammals. Dogs descended from wolves became companions and hunting partners, while livestock provided food, labor, and clothing. This human-mammal bond has shaped evolutionary trajectories. For both, technological advances accelerated during the Holocene farming tools, irrigation, and later industrialization transformed landscapes and mammalian ecology. Pollution, climate change, and invasive species introduced by humans continue to affect mammals. Today, conservation efforts emerged in response to mammalian declines. Protected areas, wildlife reserves, and breeding programs aim to preserve biodiversity and ecosystems. Understanding mammalian evolution and ecology is crucial for effective conservation. Strategies, mammals have also played cultural and symbolic roles throughout human history, from cave paintings depicting animals to mythology and art. Mammals have influenced human identity and spirituality in the modern era. Humans face challenges balancing development and wildlife preservation, habitat, fragmentation, climate change, and human-wildlife conflicts require innovative solutions to ensure mammalian diversity endures. In summary, the rise of humans marks a transformative chapter in the mammalian story. While human activity has caused significant mammalian declines, it has also created opportunities for coexistence and conservation. The future of mammals depends on understanding this relationship and fostering a sustainable coexistence. Mammals as a class have demonstrated remarkable adaptability and resilience throughout Earth's ever-changing history. From their early origins, after the extinction of dinosaurs, to the complex ecosystems of today, their survival has depended on evolving diverse strategies to cope with environmental pressures, competition, predation, and climate fluctuations. This section explores the various adaptation mechanisms mammals developed to survive and thrive across geological epochs, highlighting key physiological, behavioral, and ecological traits. One of the fundamental mammalian adaptations is their endothermia, the ability to regulate internal body temperature independently of the environment. This physiological trait allowed mammals to inhabit diverse habitats from Arctic tundras to tropical rainforests, maintaining a constant body temperature through metabolic heat production gave mammals a competitive edge over many reptiles and amphibians, especially during cooler climates like the Pleistocene ice ages. Insulation mechanisms such as fur, fat layers, and specialized skin structures further enhance thermorelation. Fur is among the most recognizable mammalian adaptations it provides. Insulation, by trapping a layer of warm air close to the skin, Fur density, length, and color vary widely depending on environmental conditions. Arctic mammals like the polar bear and Arctic fox have thick, dense fur to minimize heat loss, while desert mammals have lighter coats to reflect sunlight and reduce heat absorption, seasonal shedding, and color changes, such as the Arctic fox's transition from brown in summer to white in winter, help mammals blend into their surroundings and conserve energy, fat storage, especially in the form of blubber. In marine mammals like seals, whales, and walruses, serves as an energy reserve and insulator. This adaptation is vital for surviving cold aquatic environments and periods of food scarcity. Terrestrial mammals like bears accumulate fat before hibernation to sustain themselves through months of inactivity. Behavioral adaptations complement physiological ones. Hibernation is a prime example, a state of reduced metabolic activity during harsh seasons to conserve energy. Species such as ground squirrels, bats, and bears employ hibernation, timing it to food availability and climatic conditions. Migration is another strategy, with mammals like caribou and bats traveling vast distances to exploit seasonal resources and favorable breeding grounds. Dietary adaptations reflect the ecological niches mammals occupy. Herbivorous mammals evolved specialized dentition for processing tough plant material. Ruminants, such as deer and cattle, possess multi-chambered stomachs, allowing microbial fermentation and efficient nutrient extraction. From cellulose carnivorous mammals have sharp teeth and claws adapted for capturing and consuming prey, with variations in hunting strategies ranging from solitary ambush predators like the leopard to pack hunters like wolves. Omnivory, the ability to consume both plant and animal matter, offers dietary flexibility that aids survival in fluctuating environments. Raccoons, bears, and humans exemplify omnivorous mammals capable of adapting their diet based on availability. Reproductive strategies among mammals vary to maximize offspring survival. Many species exhibit parental care, with mothers nursing and protecting young. Some mammals, like marsupials, give birth to relatively undeveloped young that continue developing in pouches, while placental mammals have longer gestation periods and more developed newborns. Social structures, such as cooperative breeding, seen in wolves and meerkats, enhance offspring survival through shared responsibilities. Sensory adaptations enhance mammals' ability to detect predators, prey, and mates. Acute hearing, smell, and vision vary among species. According to ecological needs, bats use echolocation to navigate and hunt insects at night, while predators like big cats rely on sharp vision and stealth. Ecological adaptations include niche partitioning, where species coexist by utilizing different resources or habitats. This reduces competition and promotes biodiversity. For example, in African savannas, different herbivores feed on varied vegetation, heights, and types. While predators specialize in different prey species, mammals also adapt to human-altered landscapes. Urban environments have seen species like raccoons, foxes, and pigeons thrive by exploiting new food sources and shelter options. However, such adaptation often leads to conflicts, requiring management strategies. Climate change poses ongoing challenges to mammals. Shifts in temperature, precipitation, and habitat availability force species to migrate, adapt, or face extinction. Some mammals show remarkable plasticity, adjusting behaviors and ranges, while others are more vulnerable due to specialized niches or slow reproductive rates. Conservation biology focuses on understanding these adaptations to protect endangered species and restore habitats. Captive, breeding habitat corridors and climate change mitigation are key tools in preserving mammalian diversity. In summary, mammalian survival has hinged on a complex interplay of physiological, behavioral, and ecological adaptations. These strategies have allowed mammals to colonize nearly every habitat on Earth and endure past mass extinctions as environmental conditions continue to evolve. The ongoing adaptability of mammals will be critical to their future persistence. Mass extinctions have shaped the history of life on Earth, dramatically altering ecosystems and the course of evolution for mammals. These catastrophic events were both moments of crisis and opportunity, driving extinction. In some lineages, while opening ecological niches for others to diversify and evolve. Understanding the impact of mass extinctions on mammals reveals how resilient and adaptable this group has been throughout Earth's turbulent history. One of the most famous mass extinctions is the Cretaceous Paleogene KPG extinction event, approximately 66 million years ago, marking the end of the dinosaurs triggered by a massive asteroid impact and volcanic activity. This event caused rapid and widespread extinction across many groups, including non-avian dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and marine reptiles, mammals, which had existed alongside dinosaurs, but remained relatively small and inconspicuous, suddenly found new ecological opportunities. With many dominant reptiles eliminated, mammals began an evolutionary radiation, diversifying into niches once occupied by dinosaurs. Early mammals evolved into various forms, from small in-sea extivores to large herbivores and carnivores. This adaptive radiation laid the foundation for the rise of modern mammalian orders and the complex ecosystems we see today. Subsequent mass extinctions, though less severe, continue to influence mammalian evolution. The Eocene-Oligocene transition, around 34 million years ago, was marked by global cooling and changes in vegetation, leading to extinctions and the rise of grasslands. Mammals adapted to new diets and habitats, with the emergence of grazing species like early horses and antelopes. The Pleistocene megafaunal extinction, occurring roughly 10,0 to 12,000 years ago, profoundly reshaped mammalian communities. This event saw the disappearance of many large mammals such as mammoths, mastodons, giant ground sloths, and saber-toothed cats. The causes are debated, involving climate change at the end of the last ice age and the expansion of human populations and hunting activities. These extinctions had cascading effects on ecosystems. The loss of mega-herbivores altered vegetation dynamics affecting fire, regime seed dispersal, and nutrient cycling. Predators dependent on large prey faced declines or extinctions themselves. Smaller mammals and generalist species often survived and diversified in the changing landscape. Mass extinctions highlight the vulnerability of specialized species with limited ranges or specific ecological roles. They also emphasize the importance of adaptability and reproductive strategies for survival. Species with broad diets, flexible behaviors, and wide distributions were more likely to endure. Modern mammals continue to face extinction. Pressures often driven by human activities such as habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, and invasive species. Understanding past extinction events informs conservation efforts to protect endangered species and maintain biodiversity. Paleontological research, including fossil analysis and genetic studies, provides insights into how mammals responded to past mass extinctions. These findings help predict how current environmental changes may impact mammalian diversity and guide strategies to mitigate risks. In conclusion, mass extinctions have been pivotal in shaping mammalian evolution, acting as both destructive forces and catalysts for diversification. The ability of mammals to recover and adapt after these events demonstrates their evolutionary resilience, but also warns of the consequences when environmental change outpaces adaptation. Preserving mammalian diversity today requires learning from the past and acting to safeguard the future. Mammals exhibit some of the most complex social behaviors and communication methods in the animal kingdom, which have been crucial to their survival and evolutionary success. Unlike many other animals, mammals often rely on social bonds, cooperation, and intricate communication to find food, avoid predators, raise young, and maintain territories. These social structures range from solitary lifestyles to highly organized groups, demonstrating incredible diversity, shaped by environmental pressures, ecological niches, and evolutionary history. At the core of mammalian social behavior is the drive for reproduction and offspring survival. Parental care is one of the defining characteristics of mammals, unlike many other animals that abandon eggs or young. Shortly after birth, mammals invest significant energy in nurturing and protecting their offspring. This care includes nursing, grooming, teaching, and defending the young from predators. For example, elephants have matriarchal herds, where older females teach the young how to find food and water, recognize threats, and navigate social dynamics. This extended parental care enhances the survival chances of the young and promotes the transmission of knowledge across generations. Social structures vary widely among mammals. Some species, like many felines, are primarily solitary, coming together only to mate. Others form monogamous pairs, sharing parental duties equally, as seen in some species of wolves and beavers. Many mammals live in complex social groups or communities. Primates, dolphins, and elephants are excellent examples where social bonds are maintained through grooming, vocalizations, and physical contact. These groups provide protection, cooperative hunting, and assistance in raising young, making group living. Advantageous communication is central to mammalian social life. Mammals use a diverse range of methods to convey information, including vocalizations, body language, chemical signals, and tactile interactions. Vocal communication varies from simple calls to complex songs and language-like systems. For instance, whales and dolphins produce elaborate songs to attract mates and coordinate social groups over vast ocean distances. Primates use a rich array of vocalizations, facial expressions, and gestures to communicate intentions, emotions, and warnings. Chemical. Communication through pheromones plays a role in territory, marking signaling reproductive status and individual recognition. In many species, such as rodents and carnivores, tactile communication, such as grooming and touching, reinforces social bonds and hierarchies. Grooming reduces stress and removes parasites, while also establishing trust and alliance among group members. In species with hierarchical social systems, such as wolves or baboons, dominance is maintained through displays, physical confrontations, and submission gestures. These interactions minimize conflict and promote group cohesion. The evolution of complex social structures is linked to the cognitive abilities of mammals, larger brains relative to body size, especially in primates, and citations facilitate learning, memory, problem-solving, and social awareness. This cognitive capacity supports the development of culture tool use and even forms of cooperation that resemble human societies. For example, chimpanzees use tools to extract as termites, a behavior passed down through generations, demonstrating cultural transmission. Mammalian sociality also influences mating systems and reproductive strategies in species with herds or polygynous groups. Dominant males may control access to multiple females, leading to intense competition and sexual selection. In contrast, monogamous species show pair bonding and shared parental investment, which can lead to more stable family units. Cooperative breeding, where individuals help raise offspring that are not their own, occurs in species like meerkats and wolves, improving the survival of related young and enhancing inclusive fitness. Environmental factors shape social behaviors, resource availability, predation, pressure, and habitat complexity. Influence, whether mammals adopt solitary or group living in open habitats. Like savas, group living provides protection and coordinated defense against predators in dense forests. Solitary lifestyles may be favored due to limited visibility and food dispersion. Human activities increasingly impact mammalian social structures. Habitat fragmentation and loss reduce group sizes and disrupt social networks. Noise pollution interferes with vocal communication, especially in marine mammals. Conservation efforts consider social behavior to improve breeding programs, reintroduction, success, and population management. In summary, the diversity and complexity of mammalian social structures and communication are key to their ecological success. These behaviors have evolved to maximize survival, reproduction, and adaptability in changing environments. Understanding mammalian sociality enhances our appreciation of their biology and informs conservation strategies aimed at preserving not only species, but the intricate social systems essential to their existence. Mammals play critical roles in ecosystems across the globe, influencing everything from plant communities to predator-prey dynamics, nutrient cycling, and habitat structure. Their ecological impact is profound and varied depending on their size, diet, behavior, and habitat. This section explores the diverse ecological roles mammals occupy and how these roles contribute to ecosystem function, biodiversity, and environmental health. One of the primary ecological functions of mammals is herbivy, the consumption of plants, herbivorous. Mammals range from tiny rodents to massive megapora, like elephants and bison, Through feeding, they shape vegetation. Patterns influence plant community, composition, and affect the physical structure of habitats. For example, large herbivores, such as elephants, are known as ecosystem engineers because their feeding behavior can alter landscapes by uprooting trees, creating clearings, and opening dense forests into savannas. This modification creates niches for other species, increasing biodiversity. Smaller herbivores like rabbits and rodents also impact ecosystems by selectively feeding on seeds, leaves, and roots. Their foraging can influence plant regeneration and seed dispersal. Some rodents, such as squirrels, act as seed dispersers by caching nuts and forgetting some which then germinate. This mutualistic relationship benefits both mammals and plants, promoting forest regeneration. Carnivorous mammals serve as top predators and mesopredators, regulating prey populations and maintaining ecosystem balance. Apex predators like wolves, lions, and tigers control herbivore numbers, preventing overgrazing and allowing plant communities to thrive. Their presence can trigger trophic cascades, indirect effects that ripple through ecosystems. The reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone National Park famously led to vegetation recovery and increased biodiversity by controlling elk populations. Mesopredators such as foxes and coyotes often have more flexible diets and can adapt to various environments. Their predation helps regulate smaller prey populations like rodents and insects, contributing to pest control. However, in human-altered landscapes, mesopredator populations may increase due to the absence of apex predators, leading to imbalances known as mesopredator release. Omnivorous mammals, including bears and raccoons, contribute to ecosystem dynamics by consuming a wide range of food sources. Their varied diets allow them to adapt to seasonal changes and exploit diverse habitats by feeding on both plants and animals. Omnivores can influence multiple trophic levels and assist in seed dispersal and nutrient cycling. Detritivorous and scavenging mammals like hyenas and certain rodents play vital roles in breaking down dead organic matter. Scavengers help recycle nutrients by consuming carcasses that might otherwise harbor disease or rot. Slowly, this recycling supports soil fertility and the overall health of ecosystems. Mammals also participate in mutualistic relationships that enhance ecosystem functioning. For example, bats are important pollinators and seed dispersers in tropical and desert ecosystems. Their nocturnal foraging helps pollinate plants that bloom at night, supporting plant reproduction and diversity. Burrowing mammals such as prairie dogs and moles influence soil structure and aeration through their digging activities. These actions improve water infiltration, nutrient mixing, and root growth, benefiting plant communities. Their burrows also provide shelter for other animals, increasing habitat complexity. The extinction or decline of mammalian species can have cascading negative effects on ecosystems. The loss of large herbivores often leads to vegetation overgrowth or shifts in plant communities affecting other species. Dependent on those habitats, the disappearance of apex predators can cause prey populations to explode, leading to overgrazing and habitat degradation. Human impacts, including habitat destruction, hunting, and climate change, threaten many mammalian species and disrupt their ecological roles. Conservation efforts aim to protect keystone species, those with disproportionate effects on ecosystems, to maintain ecosystem integrity. Restoring mammalian populations through reing projects has shown promise in recovering ecological functions, and biodiversity research into mammalian ecological roles continues to reveal new insights. For instance, studies on seed dispersal highlight the importance of medium-sized mammals often overlooked in conservation. Understanding these roles helps prioritize species and habitats for protection and informs ecosystem management. In conclusion, mammals are integral components of ecosystems worldwide, performing roles that sustain biodiversity, regulate populations, and maintain environmental balance. Protecting mammals and their habitats is essential, not only for their survival, but also for the health and resilience of ecosystems on which all life depends. The evolutionary journey of mammals has been marked by a remarkable series of adaptations that allowed them to thrive and eventually dominate terrestrial ecosystems. These adaptations span morphology, physiology, reproduction, and behavior, enabling mammals to exploit a wide range of habitats, from dense forests to open plains, deserts, and even extreme environments like Arctic tundras. Understanding these evolutionary traits helps explain why mammals succeeded in the post-dinosaur world and continue to flourish today. One of the most significant adaptations in mammals is their endothermia, or warm-bloodedness. Unlike reptiles, which rely largely on external sources of heat to regulate body temperature, mammals maintain a stable internal temperature through metabolic heat production. This adaptation allows mammals to remain active in a variety of climates, including cold and fluctuating environments where ectothermic animals would be sluggish or inactive. Endothermia also supports sustained high-energy activities like hunting, foraging, and migration, which are vital for survival. The development of fur or hair is closely linked to endothermia, providing insulation to retain body heat. Fur varies in density, length, and color, depending on the species environment, offering camouflage protection from UV radiation and sensory functions through specialized hairs called fiber or whiskers. This fur coat helped early mammals survive cooler climates and maintain activity during nighttime, giving them a competitive edge over cold-blooded creatures. Mammals also evolved sophisticated respiratory and circulatory systems that support high metabolic rates. The four-chambered heart efficiently separates oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, enhancing oxygen delivery to tissues, combined with a large lung capacity and a diaphragm muscle that enables powerful breathing. Mammals can sustain high levels of activity for extended periods. Another crucial evolutionary adaptation is the development of a highly advanced brain and nervous system. Mammals generally possess larger brains relative to body size compared to other vertebrates, especially in areas controlling sensory processing, motor coordination, and cognitive functions. This neural sophistication supports complex behaviors, social interactions, problem-solving, and learning, all essential for adapting to diverse and changing environments. Reproductive adaptations distinguish mammals from other vertebrates. Mammals give birth to live young rather than laying eggs, With the exception of monotremes like the platypus and echidna, live birth allows the mother to protect and nurture the developing offspring internally, increasing survival chances. Additionally, mammalian mothers produce milk through mammary glands, providing essential nutrients and immune protection to their young. This lactation period fosters strong mother-offspring bonds and enables young mammals to grow quickly and learn survival skills before independence. Dentition in mammals is highly specialized and adapted to various diets, reflecting their ecological diversity, unlike reptiles that often have uniform teeth. Mammals display heterodont dentics, different types of teeth such as incisors, canines, preolars, and molars suited for cutting, tearing, grinding, or crushing food. This dental versatility supports herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous diets, allowing mammals to occupy a broad range of ecological niches. The skeletal structure of mammals also shows important adaptations. The presence of a single bone in the lower jaw, the denti, enhances bite strength and jaw mobility. The evolution of specialized joints in the limbs allows mammals to run, climb, dig, or swim with precision and speed. Additionally, the development of a more upright posture compared to sprawling reptiles contributes to efficient locomotion and endurance. Sensory adaptations are another hallmark of mammalian evolution. Many mammals have keen senses of hearing, smell, and vision that aid in locating food, detecting predators, and communicating. For example, the auditory bill structures. Enclosing parts of the middle and inner ear are often enlarged in mammals, enhancing sound detection. The olfactory system is highly developed in many species, particularly carnivores and rodents, enabling them to track prey or find mates. Through scent vision varies widely, with some mammals having excellent night vision, while others rely more on color perception or motion detection. Mammals have also evolved diverse locomote adaptations to conquer various habitats. Arboreal mammals like monkeys and squirrels possess grasping hands and feet, with opposable thumbs for climbing. Cursorial mammals, such as horses and deer, have long legs and specialized hooves for running fast across open landscapes. Fossorial mammals, including moles and groundhogs, have strong forelimbs and claws adapted for digging underground burrows. Aquatic mammals, like whales and seals, exhibit streamlined bodies, flippers, and modified limbs for swimming. Thermoregulatory adaptations extend beyond fur and endotherm. Some mammals possess specialized features like sweat glands, panting mechanisms, or countercurrent heat, exchange systems to manage body temperature. Desert mammals, such as camels, can tolerate extreme heat and dehydration, while Arctic species like polar bears have thick insulating fat layers and fur to conserve warmth. Behavioral adaptations complement physical traits. Many mammals display complex social structures, territoriality, migration patterns, and foraging strategies. For instance, pack hunting in wolves improves hunting success and resource sharing, burrowing, and hibernation. Behaviors help some mammals survive harsh seasonal changes. Parental care strategies, as mentioned earlier, ensure the survival and education of offspring. The fossil record provides abundant evidence of these evolutionary adaptations and their timeline. Early mammals in the late Triassic were small nocturnal creatures with many reptilian features. Over time, mammals diversified during the Jurassic and Cretaceous, though dinosaurs dominated the extinction of non-avian dinosaurs, opened ecological niches in the Paleogene, and mammals rapidly evolved. Larger sizes, varied diets, and complex behaviors, eventually leading to the modern groups we see today. Molecular studies, including comparative genomics, have further illuminated mammalian evolution, identifying genes responsible for key traits like lactation, brain development, and sensory systems. These findings corroborate fossil data and provide a deeper understanding of how mammals adapted at the genetic level. In conclusion, the evolutionary adaptations of mammals, from physiological innovations like endothermia and lactation to morphological specializations in dentition and locomotion, equip them to succeed in diverse environments. Their cognitive and social advancements further strengthen their ability to survive and thrive together. These traits explain how mammals rose to dominance in terrestrial ecosystems and continue to shape the biosphere. In the present day, the extinction of non-avian dinosaurs, approximately 66 million years ago, marked one of the most pivotal events in Earth's history, creating vast ecological opportunities for mammals. This mass extinction, caused by a combination of a catastrophic asteroid impact and prolonged volcanic activity, led to the disappearance of dominant reptilian megapora and opened up niches that mammals rapidly evolved to fill. This section explores the complex interplay of ecological opportunities and challenges that shaped the rise of mammals in the Paleogene period and beyond before the extinction event at the end of the Cretaceous. Mammals were generally small, nocturnal, and ecologically marginalized. They mostly occupied insectivorous or omnivorous niches and lived in the shadows of dinosaurs, avoiding direct competition. Their relatively small size, however, may have been an evolutionary advantage. During the catastrophic event itself, smaller animals tend to require less food, have shorter generation times, and are more adaptable to rapidly changing environments. These traits allowed many mammal species to survive the initial impact and its aftermath. The immediate aftermath of the extinction was a period of ecological upheaval and instability. The asteroid impact caused wildfires, tsunamis, acid rain, and a nuclear winter effect that drastically reduced sunlight and disrupted photosynthesis. Plant life suffered, and many ecosystems collapsed. Yet the destruction also removed long-standing competitors and predators, creating open ecological niches for mammals to exploit. One of the earliest and most dramatic changes was the expansion of mammalian body size, freed from the shadow of dinosaurs. Mammals began evolving larger forms to occupy new roles such as herbivores, omnivores, and apex predators. The trend toward gigantism is observed in several lineages, including the emergence of creodonts and early carnivores, as well as massive herbivorous mammals like euants and brontosaurs. This increase in size provided access to new food sources and allowed mammals to defend themselves more effectively. Dietary diversification was another key aspect of mammalian evolution after the extinction. Mammals rapidly expanded their feeding strategies. developing specialized teeth and digestive systems to exploit a range of diets from browsing on leaves and fruit to active predation. This dietary flexibility was crucial for adapting to the rapidly changing post-extinction ecosystems. The Paleocene and Eocene epoch saw an explosion in mammalian diversity and disparity, sometimes called the Mammalian radiation. New orders emerged, including the ancestors of modern primates, rodents, ungulates, and carnivores. Fossil sites from this period reveal a wide variety of mammal shapes and sizes, from tiny arboreal insectivores to towering herbivores. This radiation was facilitated by the relatively warm and stable climates of the early Cenozoic, which supported lush forests and abundant resources. However, the rise of mammals was not without challenges. They faced competition not only among themselves but also from surviving reptile groups like crocodilians and bird which diversified during the same period. Additionally, changing climates, geological upheavals, and evolving plant communities required constant adaptation. One fascinating aspect of post-extinction mammal evolution is the emergence of complex social behaviors. Many early mammals developed group living, cooperative hunting, and sophisticated communication, which helped them exploit resources more efficiently and defend against predators. These behaviors are linked to the growth of the brain and sensory systems, allowing mammals to become more intelligent and adaptable. The fossil record also reveals the gradual emergence of specialized ecological roles. For instance, some mammals evolved to become highly efficient runners, adapting to open plains and grasslands that spread during the Oligocene and Miocene epochs. Others developed arboreal adaptations for life in forests, while some became fossil or aquatic. This ecological specialization further increased mammalian biodiversity and allowed coexistence without direct competition. Climatic changes during the Cenozoic played a significant role in shaping mammalian evolution. The global cooling trend that began in the late Eocene led to the contraction of tropical forests and the expansion of grasslands and savannas. These changes favored grazing mammals, leading to the evolution of specialized teeth and digestive systems to process tough grasses. The appearance of horses, antelopes, and other ungulate is closely tied to these environmental shifts. The rise of mammals also influenced other components of ecosystems. For example, mammalian herbivores shaped vegetation structure through grazing and browsing, while carnivores regulated herbivore populations, maintaining ecological balance. These interactions form complex food webs and trophic cascades that underpinned ecosystem stability. Human ancestors, or hominins, appeared much later, in the Mezzine, marking the beginning of a new chapter in mammalian evolution. The adaptability and cognitive capabilities developed over millions of years laid the foundation for the eventual rise of humans who have profoundly altered ecosystems worldwide. In summary, the rise of mammals after the dinosaur extinction was a dynamic process fueled by ecological opportunity, evolutionary innovation, and environmental change. Mammals transitioned from small nocturnal survivors to dominant terrestrial vertebrates, occupying diverse niches and reshaping ecosystems. Their success story underscores the resilience of life and the continual interplay between organisms and their environment.